I'm going to show you some of the key highlights of things that I enjoy using it. And I can tell that it's going to be even better. There are things that they're going to add and expand upon this. So let me dive right in. I'm going to jump in with actually, they added some new components, specifically new UI5 components. And I want to, while that's opening up, I want to flip over to this PowerPoint real quick, just to read this. Let's see. Well, one of the key features in BI 2025 is introduction of new report elements that add interactivity in web intelligence. These new elements do not replace the ones that we've had before. Those are all still supported. Everything that we had prior to this is still available. But to take advantage of new interactivity features and export format, you must use the new elements, okay? And then this was the other key thing I wanted you to be aware of. The new interactive elements are not processed and rendered by the Web Intelligence server, but by the browser client interface. This reduces the number of calls to the server to display a report and allows the introduction of offline standalone processing of the new WIDX format. So I'll explain more about that in just a moment. So keep that in mind that it is the browser. And because of that, you have to think about what if the purpose of the report that you're building is to be exported for offline consumption, then you want to make sure you use all UI5 components for that building. And so let me just show you some of them on here. Minimize this and I'll show you some here, and then I'll move to design mode to show you the new panels. So these are some of the on-report filters that I really enjoy. This one here is a multi-select. So yeah, you can do multi-select. I can select multiple years here, and then it's filtering my report based on this selection here. So finally, we have a multi-select option on there on the report. This one here is just a show hide toggle between two different charts. You can have multiple, you could have 3, 5 charts on there and toggle between them. So it's just a button to show which chart you want to display at that time, which of course allows us to have a more dashboard feel where you can layer things on top of each other to make good use of your real estate. In the middle here, this is a drop-down filter, and I can again do a multi-select of multiple states here and filter based on that selection, and then return and select all again. And then this one is a slider where I can filter. They have it set up here for a week. This particular dashboard is one of the SAP Web Intelligence sample reports. So you should have this available to you in the Webby samples in your, hopefully you have a sandbox set up already for this, right? And you could test out these features with that sample report. So it's not my favorite as far as a dashboard, but I like this report because it shows off a lot of different features. All right. A few other things I want to show while I'm here. They also have, along with these UI components, this ability, they call them tooltips. So if I click on this, so I'm clicking on California for 2022, and notice it filtered this little pop-up chart. So I'm like drilling down into another view of the data here, and I can see my quarterly revenue for California in 2022. And then even further, let me click on Q2 and I can go another step down and I could keep going and keep going. So we have the tooltip within a tooltip. So not only can you display and individual charts like that, I believe this one they have set up. So if I click on Texas, it's its own little, sorry, click that again. Its own little dashboard in itself. So you see multiple, it's got four charts on here, a couple of tiles and a line chart and the donut chart. So you can really get creative with what pops up from that tooltip. So the way they handle those, this is interesting here. I'm in reading mode right now. There's a tab that they've hidden up here to not display, and that is they set up the tooltip charts on that tab. So your end user doesn't see them, but they work behind the scenes when you hover over one of the charts that's set up. So let me switch to design mode. And here's that hidden tab with the custom tooltips. And these are the charts that are set up. But I love it how the chart is on a different tab and yet it filters for what selection you make on the main tab. All right. There's also this other report tab here that shows the scrollable table here, which is quite cool. So you can have a ton of data in here that you can just scroll through. And then they also set up the measures where you can view that measure as a bullet chart, as a bar chart, or as a donut chart as well. So a lot of cool features there. Let's see. Let me click over here on the left. So this is the new panel that is in BI 2025. The first option there at the top is showing you all your data sources. So when I start a new report, it actually opens up a blank report with a list of my data sources here, and then I can select my universe and build out my report from there. Below that, the icon is showing me my report elements. And notice that I have multiple views here. This middle one would be, these are all our traditional components that we've had before. And this last one is for exporting to WIDX. So these are my UI5 components. And you'll see these, we can view them both as little thumbnails there, or we can change the look here to see a list as well. So a little bit more compact. What I like about this view is that you can read the whole name, whereas with a thumbnail view, sometimes, so this is stacked and this is 100% stacked, but you know, it doesn't show the whole name. So this first one shows all the components and you use the color to differentiate. So the orange ones are our traditional components and the blue ones are the UI5 components. Okay. So I think that's all I wanted to show on this report. Let me close that and open the next one. I mentioned that as far as a dashboard look, it wasn't my favorite. Let me show you one that we set up for, this is also UI using 100% UI5 components on here so that we can export. One thing I didn't do there was to show the WIDX export. Let me open that back up. So let's say I was ready to export this and be able to view it offline. I would go up to my toolbar and click on my export options. And down at the bottom there, you see WIDX, which stands for Web Intelligence Oh, goodness. Document X. There, Renali, do you remember I have it written down someplace. I forgot exactly what the words stand for. But anyway, notice that you get this message here saying when exporting a report to WIDX format, only the first page and dashboard widgets can be fully exported. So I can't export multiple tabs, only that one tab of my report. So I click export and it exports a zip file, and then the zip file I can unzip and view it offline. And just to save time, I'm going to open up one that I exported earlier this morning. There's mine. Okay. Did it open? I don't know if it's my connectivity or what. It should be opening that. There it goes. All right, so that is the full dashboard that we saw. It maintains the interactivity that we saw earlier. And I could continue filtering, doing my analysis on my report that I did before. The one thing that they don't have working in this version, probably in the next version they will, is the tooltips don't pop up. So they don't export with it, the tooltips at this time. All right. So that is the WIDX. Let me return to this dashboard. Yes.
The impact of that, because what's happening here now is that you have the ability to capture the virtual queue data that you're working with in Webi, along with the actual report, as long as it's using all UI5 components, and then take the whole thing offline. And when you take it offline, right, you can still interact with that encapsulated data set of the virtual queue. You no longer have to be connected to the system. And the significance of this is quite interesting because there's no license fees involved with it at all. So therefore you could potentially be pushing reports, dashboards out to external users like suppliers, vendors, etc. And then send them another one a week later or a month later. Right? And now instead of receiving just a static PDF, right, or even an Excel outlook, receive an interactive web report and interact with it. And it's quite secure. Right now, it's not possible to export to PDF or Excel from this format. It's a proprietary format, which means that you can keep control of that data set, right, as well, because we can't pull the data out of it, right?
Was there another question?
Well, that was my question.
Oh.
The data source, the data
Yes.
set follows.
The data goes with it. Yep. All right. Another cool thing that I want to point out here is notice that it's not showing any report tabs along the top here. I'm in reading mode and there's no report tabs. And yet I have other tabs of my report. We have a new setting on here. I wanted it for this particular dashboard report to force users to use this navigation to be able to click on the icon. Let me show you where that setting is in the options here. There's a new one called reading options. And if I open that up, it's this hide report bar. And so with that toggled on, then you don't see those report tabs at the top. Okay. So really enjoying this. And then all of these panels, of course, can be collapsed on the side so you have more room. All right. One other dashboard or report that I'm going to open. This one I'm just opening because it has a lot of report tabs. And I want to show you something very cool. So one of the things that we've been wanting for a long time is the ability to move report tabs like drag and drop, not the move left, move left, move left options. And now we can do that. So raw data is my last report tab, which isn't even showing on there. And I'm just going to drag it up and move it up here. So now it's going to be my second report tab.
Can you only do it from the side or do top?
You can't, no, you can't do it from the top. You have to do it from the side panel. Yep. So for all of you that have really a lot of reports in your report tabs, that is something we've been wanting for a very long time. All right. And then the next thing I want to show is data mode. So data mode was introduced in 4.3, 4.3 SP3, and then expanded in SP4. And they took it one more step here in BI 2025. And there was, in the transformation options, the one thing that we couldn't do in data tab was create a variable or create a join on a variable. And now you can in BI 2025, either from a formula or a variable. So in these two data sets, the green one is my second query, which is from Excel. And I want to join it on the product names, but also on the year and the month. And the month in this data set is in caps and it's a short month name. In my universe, it's the long month name. So I'm going to switch to data tab. Here's what data tab looks like. I'll collapse that window. And I see my two queries here, my universe data, my Excel data, and my virtual cubes here. I'm going to click on orders here so I can see a preview of the data here. And from this little three dots beside it, I'm going to click on the formula option. And on there, I'm just going to add a left function and just keep the left 3 characters. And I have a missing parenthesis. Oh, I didn't get my 3 in there. There we go. All right. So that gave me my short month name, but I also need to switch it to uppercase, which we have that transform available to us. So I'll switch it to uppercase. Now it's all good and will match my target data with the uppercase short month name. So I'm ready to join. I'll select my orders and my targets. I'll click on my combine cube, the little wishbone there on the toolbar. And the other thing they added was now we have a right join, which is what I want in this scenario. I don't know if you can see the row numbers here, but I have more target data. I have 192 rows there and 144 in my orders. So I want to do a right join so I get all of the data from my targets and any matching rows from my orders. All right. So the right join was the last new join option that has been added to our options here. I so love being able to do different types of join in here to be able to refine the data set that you really want. All right. It picked up on common dimensions because they had the same name, but there's more. So I'm going to click on the keys and I'll join year to year and month to month. Click OK. And then create. And now I've got my new combined data set with 192 rows and 6 columns of data. All right. And I can use that to build out a new report. I can hide these. Notice the little symbol on there giving me an indication that there's a transformation that's been done on this data. So I love the visual cues that they give us in this tool to know that something is going on there. I could keep this. I could rename this to have a better name. I could hide the original cubes so that my end users didn't accidentally try and use those. So if I hide those cubes, then this is the only cube that they would see when we switch back to design mode. However, notice these say hidden cube now. So keep that in mind if you're editing a report that already has merging, for example, in place, that if it's using some of the data cubes in your report, you need to be aware of that. You don't have to hide them. It's up to you as the report developer, if whatever you want to do to make it easier on your report users, okay? And future people who will be using this report. All right, any questions on data tab? I think there's one other thing that I didn't show.
You know, Roxanne, you know, the session made a big use case as well.
Yeah. All right, the last thing that I wanted to show was the Launchpad KPI tiles. So I'm in reading mode, and if I select this table here, you'll see on here, it says pin to BI Launchpad homepage. So I can click on that, the table tile created successfully. And now if I go to the home screen, you see this new option here on the toolbar at the top, My Tiles. If I click there, now I have that table here, which I can resize. However big I want it. And I could add other charts, of course, as well.
So the question I always have with this, how does this work on an upgrade, especially if you're migrating? They're gonna do that, do that stuff or not?
I haven't tested that.
27 boxes.
Right.
I'll tell you when 2027 comes.
They always makes me nervous. Administrator, crazy.
It's a very, you know, new and limited option at this time. By default, you can't have more than 5.
Yeah.
If you went into seriously, if you went into the Launchpad to configure it, the maximum will allow is 10. Right, so they don't want you to kind of take over your Launchpad with extended widgets everywhere. But I'll find out about the migration question because I will actually be.
You can also jump to the report that this came from. This is using open document call. So that is when we talked to friends about why the limitation of only 5. it is using the open document call. So each time, you can imagine in the morning, 300 people log into Business Objects and they've got all these reports that are suddenly opening up. So that was the reason why they put the restriction on it at this time, although they did also mention that for the next version, they're not going to be using open document. So they're going to change it underneath to how they have these KPI tiles working. They're not going to use open document.
Oh,
So in that case, you can't wait for it.
I just heard open document, so if you read email, but I'm like, they're not getting rid of open doc.
No. These KPI tiles will not be using open document in the future. Yeah.
Else. Oh, you won't get a big one, but
Well, I would think they'd still work, but not the way you want them to work. Yeah. Okay, that's all I had. Any questions?
How many customers have started in how many have you put in 25 yet?
0.
0.
Like we installed it ourselves, obviously, and building new training materials so they can sell forth. So, 2 customers lined up and multiple that, so it's like, and quite a few from first one of these.
Right.
And some jumping.